Welcome back to the Barrel Talk Podcast. We are back with another episode. In this episode, we are going to be going over our March Madness bracket. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know on the YouTube end of things that we have a group for March Madness, the Bracket Challenge. Go into ESPN.com, Bracket Challenge, look up Barrel Talk Podcast. You'll find it there and all of our socials in the description. It is also linked all over our social pages on IG, X, TikTok, YouTube Shorts as well, and all the links and everything will be in the description below to enter this chance to win a free NBA jersey of your choosing, just like we did last year. But without further ado, we can get into the bracket. Now, this is a very interesting bracket. I love a lot of the 8-9 matchups, but we're going to start out with the South and then go on from there. Auburn, easy. We're not even going to spend too much time on it. Auburn's going to advance in the first round. Creighton and Louisville, in my opinion, is going to be possibly the best game of this first weekend entering the tournament. There's just a matchup of styles here. Two teams that are so close together. I'm kind of torn on Louisville and Creighton. I don't really know which way I do want to lean, just looking at the preview and everything else right here. It's tough. Ryan Kalkbrenner inside for Creighton could cause some problems for Louisville. Louisville coming out getting big wins. This is tough. I really have been high on Creighton in the past couple of years for sure. But I think this is tough. This is honestly one of the tougher ones to predict in the first round. I'm going to lean... I'm going to lean Creighton for right now. I just think they're super well coached, and I think they're going to have enough to get out of this first game against Louisville. Michigan, San Diego, I've been seeing a lot of people pick a 12-5 upset here. I'm going to go with Michigan. I just am not a full believer in a lot of these 12 seeds coming in. I know the record is 30-4, but who have they really been playing? Michigan has turned it up as of late. I think they're going to be just fine. I think they're going to be able to get a first win and get up out of the first round and beat UC San Diego. Texas A&M and Yale, I'm on Yale because looking at Texas A&M, they are not a very good, they're a terrible shooting team. They are a terrible shooting team. And yes, like it says in the description, they're a really good rebounding team, but a lot of those rebounds are off their own misses. And if you can't shoot the ball in the tournament, that is going to be a tough night and could be an early exit for you in the tournament. And Yale is a team that really has more of kind of this pack line-esque defense, and they can shoot the ball really well, forcing teams to shoot the three ball. Unless Texas A&M all of a sudden got hot from three, which is something they haven't done all year, then I would say Texas A&M, I would give them the edge. But going into the game, I think Yale has what it takes to pull off a 13-4 upset here in the first round. Now going on, San Diego State and UNC, I am really favorable for both of them in this matchup against Ole Miss. Whoever comes out, I'm going to go with that matchup right there. Either one of them winning, I would probably still pick them. In my opinion, I think UNC is going to win. There's a lot of talk about how they shouldn't even be in the tournament. I think that could be a little bit more of a fuel to the fire for them. I think UNC ends up winning against San Diego State, and then they go on to beat Ole Miss as well. Now going into Iowa State Lipscomb, I'm going to go with Iowa State here. One of the most balanced teams in the country, have been for the past couple of years now. I think they get out of that matchup as well. Marquette, New Mexico, I'm going Marquette. Michigan State and Bryant, I think Michigan State handles business. Now we're going to go down. We're just going to go all first round and go pretty much around in a circle. Florida, easy, no need to talk about it there. UConn, Oklahoma, I'm not high on Oklahoma. This is just a tough draw for UConn to have to go play Florida. I'm going to go UConn. I just have a hard time believing that this Dan Hurley-led team is going to lose in the first round, especially to a team like Oklahoma, who is kind of suspect in my mind as well. But I got UConn getting out. I have them going to match up with Florida in the second round. Memphis, Colorado State, high on Colorado State. I'm not the biggest fan of Memphis. Just kind of looking at the description for you guys on screen. Memphis is such an up and down team, been an up and down team all year. but they have a couple good wins. But I think Colorado State more proven. They are in a weaker conference, being in the Mountain West, but they're going into the tournament hot. And I think that is a big thing that people overlook is what are teams doing? Are they going into the tournament hot, or if they're going into it cold? They're going in obviously rattled off 10 straight wins. I'm gonna go Colorado State to beat Memphis in a 12-5 upset. I'm gonna go Maryland against Grand Canyon. Super high on Maryland this year. Missouri and Drake, interesting, very interesting situation going on at Drake because their coach, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to mess up his name. Ben McCollum, carrying over from D2 success. Obviously, 15 years at D2, 30-3 record. He brought a lot of, I think, 3 or 4 of his guys over to Drake. I'm going to go Drake here. I think Drake is a very sneaky team. I know for the past couple of years, a lot of people have been high on Drake to make kind of a little bit of a push, a little bit of a run in the tournament, and it hasn't really happened in the past couple of years. But I think with what this team has an established winning culture and a winning coach now who knows how to win. That's been his entire career pretty much in D2. So looking at that, I think they get out of the first weekend. I'm going Texas Tech, really high on them. Kansas Arkansas is an interesting matchup. I'm going to lean Kansas. They have the experience. They've had a really disappointing kind of year, especially going into it where they're number 1 in the preseason polls. I think they have enough to get out of the first weekend. I think on paper they have enough to make a deeper push and a deeper run, but I think Kansas is such an interesting team. But I'm going to lean on the experience against Arkansas, and I think they get out of that matchup. St. John's, Omaha, I'm going St. John's. Going up from the top, I'm going to go Duke. In the first round, no need to really talk about that. The Cooper Flag injury says he's going to play. Even if he doesn't play, I think they can take care of business here. I'm going to go Baylor over Mississippi State. I'm going to go Oregon over Liberty. I've been seeing a lot of just talking in my group chat about Akron. Shout out to Jason. Catching me up on Akron ball. I'm still going Arizona. I think when you have the shot-making ability of Arizona in the tournament and Caleb Love more so, I know he can be streaky, but having somebody that you can get the ball to in late game situations that can just go get a bucket, I think is really, really valuable to have in the tournament. So I'm going to go with Arizona, even though this probably is going to be a closer game than a lot of people are anticipating. But I do think Arizona gets out, and I do think that shot-making ability by some of the guys on their roster, including Caleb Love, comes and shows its light in this game. BYU, VCU. I'm going VCU. I've been seeing a lot of people super, super high on BYU. They are a team that struggles on the interior, and VCU is a bigger team. They run constant 6'10", 6'9" lineups where they can dominate the front court. I think that's going to prove to be very valuable against a BYU team that can shoot the 3-ball at a very, very high clip. I'm going to lean and go with the more interior presence and the rebounding edge to VCU, especially if BYU comes in a little bit off from 3. I really, really lean VCU in this matchup. I'm going to go Wisconsin over Montana. Not too high on Wisconsin, but I think they can get out of a matchup with Montana. St. Mary's, this is just a tough, tough team against Vanderbilt. I think it's a tough matchup. I think St. Mary's gets out of that one, and I got Alabama matching up with St. Mary's. Now going down, Houston, no real discussion here. One of the best teams in the country. I think they get it done. Gonzaga, Georgia, I'm going Zags. Gonzaga should not be an 8. I don't think Gonzaga should be an 8. This is going to be a hell of a round for Houston to deal with what Gonzaga has on the experience side of things and everything else they have going on over there. Clemson and McNeese. So this matchup is what, before I started recording, was something I was really paying attention to. I'm going to go Clemson. McNeese is always an interesting team, especially these past 2 years they've made it. Is yes, they have a high record and everything, and I picked them the past couple of years, or past 2 years really, to get at least out of the first round, if I'm not mistaken, but kind of fell short. Clemson, really good year. I think they're going into this tournament really, really strong. Give me Clemson. They had the wicked second half meltdown in their conference tournament, but I think they'll be able to rebound and bounce back and get out of this match with McNeese. Purdue and High Point. This is another one. Purdue is struggling. I talked about earlier about momentum going into the tournament. when you're looking at Purdue, 6 of their last 9 games, they're really not in good shape going into the tournament. And when you look at a team like High Point, yes, they're not playing up to the caliber of competition of a Purdue, but they are tournament first timers. They've won 14 straight games. They have experience and talented guards going into the tournament. They can shoot the ball as well. This is an interesting matchup. It's mainly interesting because Purdue has not been as sharp going into the tournament. I think I'm going to ride with that. I think that really does play a factor into a lot of these tournament games, especially in the first round, because Purdue has not been playing the best ball. I'm going to go with High Point. They've been playing better ball. I know the competition and conferences are way different comparing the two teams, but I do think having that momentum on your side going into the tournament can be very valuable. I'm going to go High Point. Illinois versus Texas or Xavier. Another interesting one. I would pick Xavier to win against Texas. Xavier and Illinois are two very streaky teams. It's going to be very interesting. Illinois is also super, super young. Not really a ton of experience on that team as well. But I'm going to say they get this one out. I'm going to say Illinois pulls this one out and gets the second round. Kentucky and Troy, I'm going Kentucky. UCLA, Utah State. This is an interesting one. I'm not really high on either team. I'm going to go ahead and put Tennessee down there as well. But I'm really not high on either team. I'm going to go UCLA just because I think they're just a better team defensively. They might have struggles offensively, but I think I'm going to lean UCLA. They can force a lot more turnovers than a Utah State team. Now we're going to go back up to the top. Auburn and Creighton. I'm going to go Auburn. This is going to be a very good game, like I said earlier at the start, but I think either team gets beat by Auburn in the second round. Michigan and Yale, another interesting matchup. I'm going to go Michigan. I'm going to go Michigan over Yale. It could be interesting. It could be interesting, though. Man. I don't know how I want to lean with this. Just kind of looking at Yale's past couple. Let me know in the comments. This is a tough one to pick. I'm going to lean Michigan. Let me know in the comments if I'm tripping. Now, Iowa State, UNC. In my eyes, this is a tough matchup. I know Iowa State is missing one of their guards in this matchup as well. They're missing Keyshawn Gilbert. That's a big loss for them. He's ruled out for the season. I think they're a well-balanced team. They could be able to be fine, but I think one of these 11 seeds in this tournament is going to make a push. I'm going to go in my bracket. I would have UNC getting to this point in the tournament. I think they're going to use a lot of that they shouldn't be in the tournament to fuel the fire with this team. And they have a veteran guard in RJ Davis, who's one of the best guards in college basketball. And I think that is going to be the difference maker in them making a push in the tournament. Now going on to Michigan State Marquette. I'm going Michigan State. Two teams that kind of play similar brands, more so on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm going to go Michigan State, better offensive team than Marquette. Florida, UConn. This is where I think Florida absolutely routs UConn. UConn's guard play just isn't up to par with how it's been in the past couple of years. And I think that's a big reason why they have struggled this year is because the guard play has really taken a step down compared to the past 2 years where they've won the Natty. So looking at this, I think Florida does take care of UConn, and UConn's chances of three-peating are over. Maryland, Colorado State, I'm going Maryland, super high on Maryland. Drake, Texas Tech, I'm going Texas Tech. Interesting matchup, St. John's and Kansas down here. Patino. It's very interesting because I love St. John's has a defensive team. Kansas has the interior presence to give them problems. But St. John's as an offense is really questionable in my eyes. Kansas has the experience to get it done. This is gonna be an interesting game if it does happen. Man, what would I lean here? Interior presence of Kansas, the defense of St. John's. I worry about St. John's offense when it comes down to the late games in the stretch. Like I said, Kansas is one of the most experienced teams in the tournament. They kind of have the makeup. I know it's been a rough year for them, but they have the players on the team to make a run. They really, really do. Ah, man. I'm gonna go St. John's. I'm gonna go St. John's. I think Kansas is gonna. This is gonna be a very good close game. I'm worried about St. John's offense, but I think they get it done and pull it out. Duke and Baylor. I'm going Duke. This is gonna be an interesting game. Two very athletic teams that can get up and down. I'm leaning Duke though. I think if Cooper Flag can get at least more healthy by this point, by when this game is outside of the first weekend, I think they're going to be in really, really good shape. I really do. I think Duke, like they just have everything. They just have everything, and Baylor isn't the biggest team on the interior. And with guys like Cooper Flag, I think you're going to be able to dominate at that point in the game. Arizona, Oregon. I'm going Arizona. Kind of what I said about Arizona earlier. I think when you have that shot making ability from multiple players on your team in the tournament, I think it can be a big difference maker. And I'm going to go Arizona to match up with Duke in the next round. VCU, Wisconsin. I'm going to lean VCU again. VCU is going to be my 11th seed making it this far. I think they can. I really do. I'm not really scared of Wisconsin. I think VCU, if they can get by, I think this would really be this kind of matchup, if you know what I'm trying to say. But Wisconsin, I'm not high on, has a 3, kind of questionable in my opinion. But VCU, I'm going to lean them to beat Wisconsin and move on to the next round. St. Mary's, Alabama, this would be a really, really good game. But I think Alabama's offense gets them and advances them onward. Now we're going to Houston and Gonzaga. Houston's interesting because they are always a team that is primed for this spot. They're always a team that has built off their defense, can make deep runs in the tournament. But I don't think they have that guy. You know what I mean? Like in the past years, they've had Jamal Shed, who's been that guy who's been able to make big-time shots down the stretch of the games. I just don't think they have that. But against a Gonzaga team that is very, very good, very, very good analytically, I think they advance. I think they get the upset. I love Nemhard as a guard. I think he's going to be able to deal with the pressure really well. They don't turn the ball over. They're a very disciplined team. I think Gonzaga is going to advance and beat Houston and upset them in the 8-1 matchup to move on. Clemson and High Point. I'm going Clemson. Good story for High Point beating Purdue. I think this is going to be a big upset of the first weekend, but I think Clemson and that defensive backcourt is going to be problems for High Point, and I think they move on to play Gonzaga in the next round. Illinois, Kentucky, two teams that play very, very similarly. It's going to be interesting because like Kentucky, I'm going to lean Kentucky. But Illinois is so streaky. If they can get hot, I can see them making a little bit of a run. They're so young. I'm going to go Illinois. I'm going to go Illinois to make a push and make a little bit of a run here and beat Kentucky. I know Kentucky's also dealing with some injuries to some of their top guys as well. I'm going to go Illinois to upset and beat Kentucky. Tennessee over UCLA, not really high on UCLA whatsoever. Now, Auburn, Michigan. I'm still going to go Auburn here. And then it would be North Carolina for me versus Michigan State. I'm going to go Michigan State here to match up with Auburn. Now we're going down to Florida, Maryland. As much as I really, really like Maryland, really like Derek Queen, Walter Clayton is the real deal. But I think Florida is the most complete team in the tournament. I'm going to go Florida over Maryland. And then I'm going to go Texas Tech over St. John's. Two very, very good defensive teams that match up really well. But I lean JT Toppin in that offense a little bit more than St. John's. I think offensively, I'm going to give Texas Tech the edge here over St. John's. And now I have Texas Tech and Florida matching up there. Duke and Arizona, this is going to be such an insane game. If it does happen, I have a hard time not leaning Duke here. I think Duke defensively can really sit down and cause problems for Arizona. But like I said, the shot-making ability, if there's any team that can get just blistering hot and make a run, I think it's Arizona. I know there are 4, but I'm still going to go Duke, but I wouldn't be so shocked if Arizona was able to make a run and make a push. When you have that shot making ability in the tournament from the guys on their roster, I think it can be very valuable. Now, BCU Alabama, I'm going to go Alabama. So I have Duke and Alabama matching up here. Going into Gonzaga Clemson, I'm going Gonzaga to advance, and I'm going to go Tennessee to advance as well. So looking at my Elite Eight, Auburn, Michigan State. Auburn has a ton of experience. Man, this would be a heck of a matchup. Tom Izzo, man. Is it this year they break the ceiling, get to the Final Four? Is it the year? I'm gonna. Mm 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 mm. Give me Michigan State. Give me the edge to Michigan State to upset Auburn. 1-2 or really wouldn't be that crazy of an upset. Give me Michigan State. Tom Izzo gets back to the Final Four. Now, Florida, Texas Tech. Interesting one. I really am liking what I've been seeing this year from Texas Tech. They have a go-to guy in JT Toppin. Florida's really complete as a team. Looking at it, just Florida might just be too complete. Florida is just such a complete team to where it's going to be tough to pick against them. It's going to be very tough to pick against them. I'm going to go Florida. I'm going to lean Florida here, and we're going to get Florida, Michigan State in the Final Four. Now up here, Duke and Alabama. This would be a heck of a game. I'm going to go Alabama. I think Alabama, a lot of people can say they've been a little bit up and down going into the tournament, but when you look at their schedule, one of the toughest non-conference schedules in all of college basketball. And I think this team is battle-tested. This is a situation they were in last year. Mark Sears, one of the best guards in the country. Looking at how they match up with Duke is going to be very interesting to see because of how good Duke is defensively. But I think Alabama and their offense can cause Duke some problems. And I think if they can get hot, I think they can make a run like this and upset Duke in this 1-2 matchup and get to the Final Four. So I have Alabama making it to the Final Four. Gonzaga, Tennessee. Tennessee is a little bit of a streaky team. In my opinion, they have an easy path as a 2 seed, probably the easiest path of all the 2 seeds to get to this point. Going against Gonzaga, going to be very interesting. Gonzaga is always a team that is prone to kind of just fall apart in the tournament at times. I have them upsetting Houston. Tennessee's an interesting one. Man. Gonzaga beating Houston and Tennessee would be crazy. I'm going to go Gonzaga. I'm going to go Gonzaga over Tennessee. So I have, man, I could be really sitting here looking stupid first weekend if Gonzaga can't beat Houston or if Gonzaga loses to Georgia. That'd be crazy. But here's what I have for my Final Four. Florida, Michigan State, Alabama, Gonzaga. I have Alabama beating Gonzaga, advancing to the national championship game. And then I have Florida, Michigan State would be a battle, but I'm going to go Florida. So I have Florida and Alabama, a 1-2 matchup, and I'm going to go with Alabama. Was super high on them last year to win it all, but they fell up short. But I think this year they are tested, they are proven. They've really been playing tournament style kind of basketball, really looking at it for like a good month and a half now. Looking at their schedule towards the back half, they had a gauntlet. They were playing nothing but ranked competition and ranked teams. Looking at it, matched up with Florida. They've lost twice now to Florida. One in a closer game, one they got handled. At this point, I feel like that gauntlet of a schedule really hampered down on them. But I have a lot of faith in Nate Oates and how they play offense over there in Alabama. I have a lot of faith in them to make a run. I think they're the most dangerous team. I know they're a 2 seed, but offensively, I think they're the best offensive team in the entire tournament. And I think if they are able to find their stride and get hot, I think they can win it all. And they're getting a matchup against Gonzaga, which I like for them. On the other side, Florida, Michigan State. I think Florida is just such a complete team to where I think they really have what it takes to beat anybody, but I have Alabama winning it in the end. So this is my bracket. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, where you guys think I'm crazy, where you guys think I went wrong. But I do have Alabama winning it. Total points, two really solid offensive teams. I'm going to say 146. 146 for that. But this is my bracket. I have Alabama winning it all. Let me know in the comments, like I said, if you guys, what picks you agreed with, disagreed with, things of that nature. If you want to join this group to have a chance to win a free NBA jersey of your choosing, all of those links will be in the description below and also all over our social medias as well. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Barrel Talk podcast. Hope you tune in to future episodes.